Hi, we're at DSEI Show 2019. I'm joined by Freddie Roe from Astute. Now, you're Director of Defence and Aerospace.
Yes.
We've seen how Astute has transformed over 30 years, and it's emerged as a pretty big player in this sector, to say the least, and reflected by the size you stand, actually. Talk me through where you're at now with the business.
So I've been with Astute 22 years now, just under 22 years, and over the last sort of 20 years I've been part of the business. We've really established ourselves as an aerospace and defence key player in the supply chain solutions and global component supply. So historically we've always been pigeonholed around electronics, and now as we sit today you won't see electronics as a name within our brand anymore, and that's a strategic decision we took a few years ago because the aerospace and defence sector needed more than just an electronic solution. They needed a commodity and a supply chain solution. So the actual commodity itself in electronics became irrelevant to a degree, and we enabled us to widen our support and our services to the aerospace and defence sector, and really to get in depth into what their requirements are and give the solutions around that. So for the past 20 years it's been about broadening our offering, and then over the last sort of 10-12 years we've been doing DSEI. It's about positioning ourselves within this market so people understand us as not just an electronic component company, but actually as a supply chain solutions provider, as a wider thing. So this year the stand has really been about giving clarity around that. So the 4 pillars of our business, what does that mean? So from the design phase of a piece of aerospace and defence equipment right the way through to the end of life phase, how each of our services and each of our offerings in the business supports that requirement. So in effect you become a cradle to grave solution for whatever bit of equipment it is out there. And as we know, pieces of equipment in this sector are staying in service much longer due to restrictive funding of new manufacturing, and also because of how good these pieces of equipment are now when they're in service. So that supportability end of it, the end of life period, is very important. So keeping that equipment in the air, on the sea and on the ground is key.
Do you think the maturity in your business now kind of reflects where the market is as well, that they've both reached that point at a similar time?
I'd like to think so. I'd like to say that we've been very strategic in our positioning in the business over the last few years, but in reality we're still very much a customer-led business. So our customers come to us with solutions, with problems, and we try to create a solution around it. And it becomes a very consultative approach. We're not going to the market and saying, we've got this product, we want you to buy it. We're going to our existing customer base and we're saying, let us understand what your supply chain problems are, what are the issues you're seeing in the market, and can we build a solution around it? So I think that maturity comes from that approach, as well as the need for the industry to have a solution all the way through the life of the equipment.
What kind of questions are you getting from customers? You've seen a lot of customers whilst I've been watching in and out of your stand all day. It doesn't seem like you've had a down second.
No, it's been a bit like speed dating this morning, yeah. The Brexit question comes up all the time, and if I knew the answer to that, I wouldn't be standing here with you. I'd be in Westminster. But the reality is, Brexit could be an opportunity for Astute. It really could be, and we're looking to see what the opportunity will be. We've got offices all over the world now. We opened in Germany recently. We've got offices in Australia, 2 in the US. So as a global player now, we could give the UK manufacturing and supply aerospace and defence sector a solution to move their product around the world easier than maybe a just UK business could, given the restrictions that are potentially going to come our way. So that question's come up a lot. I suppose if I'm really honest with how the stand's gone the last couple of days, people are coming on our stand and probably they're going, this is quite impressive, you're bigger than we thought you were, you're a bigger player in this industry than we thought you were. So it's nice to have that sort of confirmation of our position. And then what more can we do for them? So that's been really good, and we've had some really successful meetings so far.
That's good. And do you find that also for businesses that have been going for decades, you can end up being slightly pigeonholed. People have a perception of what you are, when in reality you left that behind
many years,
2 decades ago.
That's been probably, to hit the nail on the head, the biggest challenge we've had over the last 10 years. If you look at our customer base, 80% of our customer base today was 80% of our customer base 20 years ago, under different names, different guises, but the business is growing very much organically, certainly within this sector. So a lot of them people stay in this industry for a long time, so how they used us 20 years ago shouldn't be how they use us today. The offering is wider and the solutions are better. 20 years ago we were being very much seen at the very end of a piece of equipment's life, so the obsolescence phase. They would come to Astute to give them solve a problem. Can they get us out of a hole? Parts were hard to find. Can we go around the world trying to find them? Whereas now we've got a huge investment in our product development team and our design team. So we want to go to the very infancy of a piece of equipment's life, the concept phase. We want to be part of our customers' design phase, so our engineers and our technical teams and our application guys can go, this is the new technology now that's hitting the market. This is what you should be putting in your systems, and then we can manage that through life process all the way to the end. So we mitigate any risk of non-supply, mitigate risk of obsolescence and end of life. So we manage it. That's the key message we're trying to get across throughout this show.
And to a layman, that sounds the most cost-effective route anyway.
Well, you'd like to think so, yeah. And I think the reality of what the customer base is seeing now is that they're not going to pay any more for that. They're getting a lot of value add within that service they're not paying for. Ultimately, they're still going to pay for the components, but it's all the bit that we're putting around it, and we've put a big investment in nitrogen storage. So we've got about 18 cabinets that are fed from a nitrogen generation plant on site in Stevenage, and that's really there for when when material is going obsolete or it's coming to end of life, we can do a forward buy. We can put the material in nitrogen storage for as long as it's needed, and that is securing the availability of that material for the next 10-15 years of the support phase of the equipment. So they're not going to necessarily pay any more for that service. They're going to pay for the components, but for that a longer period of time, and it's guaranteeing the surety of supply.
So how do you see the next 5 years panning out, the next 3 decades maybe?
Well, I think the business is ever changing. We've got some challenges to overcome with Brexit. That will probably be a very reactive process once it happens. Let's be honest. I think everyone's going to be in the same boat. It'll happen, and then we'll put some solutions around it. Once we get that out of the way, next year is very positive for the business. We'll get through that 30-year barrier, and then we'll look at what the next 5 years comes. We have a very robust 5-year business plan. We've had some restructuring internally as well to support that growth moving forward. And then there's investment. Where do we invest next? We've just opened an office in Mexico. Potentially we'll look at where the next opportunity is globally. We've had some great meetings this week that will potentially shape the future of the business. So there's a lot to happen for Astute moving forward, and also I'd say watch this space is really what the answer to that would be.
And it strikes me you've already done a lot of the heavy lifting, like you say, with Brexit. A huge amount of that could be bureaucracy, which you've been dealing with by opening other offices, expanding, and you're used to those supply chain issues. So that's your challenges. Yeah, that's your bread and butter, isn't it? So you should be quite well placed to cope with that.
We should be, and these challenges are why the customers engage with us. How can we make their life easier? And if we can take on some of these challenges of moving products around the world, buying from overseas, the risk around the currency fluctuations at the minute, if we can manage that and protect the customer from that, we should be able to gain more market share. So that's ultimately what we're trying to do. And the procurement process, I mean, we have some great systems now in place and some great people managing our procurement from all over the world. That's bringing a global supply chain into the UK. So rather than just UK manufacturing, looking at what's available here and now, well, what's available around the world. The UK is still a small manufacturing or volume manufacturing market. The global market is much bigger and much more volume, so we can try and bring that to the customer's door, again, to give more value to what they're doing now.
All right, exciting times.
Yes.
Thank you for sparing the time, and I hope the remaining 3 days of the show
yes.
give you some respite.
Hope my back holds up, yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.